Hi, I'm Patrick and welcome to AnimeCons TV. In this episode, we are reviewing the 10 best depictions of conventions in media. Now, conventions have been pictured in dozens and dozens of movies, TV shows, and online series, but we've researched them all and put together a list of our 10 favorites. So let's kick it off with number 10. Number 10 is Big Bang Theory: The Bakersfield Expedition. This aired January 10th, 2013, and in this episode, the guys decide to go to a comic sci-fi convention. Actually, it's the Bakersfield Comic Con in Bakersfield, California, so they take a road trip, and on the way, Raj suggests that they stop at Vasquez Rocks to do a photo shoot. And while they're there, the car is stolen and they have to walk. But they're dressed in costume as Star Trek: The Next Generation characters. They never actually make it to the convention, but this is a pretty good depiction of a road trip. Maybe not a typical road trip if your car's not stolen, but it's pretty enjoyable nonetheless.
Sheldon, how is that a fight pose?
Mr. Data's weapon is his mind. I'm wielding it.
Faces on the bog! Charlie's Angels!
Number 9, Supernatural: The Real Ghostbusters. This episode is from November 12th, 2009. In this episode, Sam and Dean are tricked into attending a supernatural convention, a convention for their own show. This is one of those episodes of a TV show where they put the show inside the show as if it's a fictional thing. They've done it on Sliders, Stargate SG-1, and Deep Space Nine. It's still fun every time they do it, and it's fun seeing the reaction of the fans to these people that think they're the real Sam and Dean, even though they are, and seeing Sam and Dean's reaction to the fans pretending to be them. And then you throw in some real ghosts, and when the fans realize that this is actually real, well, it's a very enjoyable episode and very much worth watching. Number 8 is Community: Conventions of Space and Time. This episode from February 21st, 2013 is where the group decides to go to an Inspector Spacetime convention called Inspecticon in order to support Abed and Troy. Now when they get there, they discover that Abed has an online pen pal who is starting to drive a rift between him and Troy. They also discover that one of the aliens in the TV show happens to look like Jeff, so Jeff plays that up a bit and gets it on with a fan in the bar. And Annie discovers the wonders of hotel hospitality and does all sorts of things in Jeff's hotel room to take advantage of room service or whatever. It's a pretty good actual depiction of a convention. It's not an actual convention, but it's a good depiction of one. The only thing that really bugged me about this is you never actually see Inspector Spacetime, Travis Ritchie. I think that's because there was some sort of rift between him and the show because he's trying to build it up on his own. But anyway, Community is a great show, and this is a great episode depicting conventions, so check it out. Number 7, The Guild, Season 5. This season started on July 26, 2011, and in this season, the entire season, the Guild travels to a convention for video games, including The Game that they play. And the entire convention deals with cosplay and meeting actors and entering the masquerade, and Zabu's got a scheme for saving seats. And he's got a couple Master Chiefs as his bodyguards. There's also a ton of cameos. We see, we get Richard Hatch, Kevin Sorbo, Grant Imahara, Nathan Fillion, Colin Ferguson, Brent Spiner, Eliza Dushku, and Rick Fox, and Stan Lee, and so many more. And so you can watch this for free online. Just look for Geek and Sundry on YouTube and you can find the entire season of The Guild, Season 5. And it's worth checking out. The masquerade towards the end of the season, no spoilers, but that's pretty cool. It's pretty funny all around, so I think you'd enjoy it.
There's another individual claiming to be somebody who wants to cut line and speak to you, and he won't pay for a video.
Hi. Holy crap! Pork, do you know who this is? Okay, I'm blown away. I mean, how did you invent your character? What inspired you? How did I miss your genius?
Calm down. I'm just a guy doing the same thing you're doing.
With half the business.
That's... So I am really impressed with your operation.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the whole video thing is mostly Vork's idea, but I bring the artistry, so it's this killer combo.
Yeah, well, it works. It's great. It's a Vork, is it? Is there a story behind that name?
Not for you.
So I was wondering if maybe I could take you guys out to lunch. You know, just talk a little internet strategy. I really want to get in on the mind of today's youth, or the mean Lex Luthor behind that youth.
Lunch with you? Oh my God, that would be...
Untenable. We have a full schedule now. Move along. We have paying customers waiting.
Alrighty then.
Number 6, Fanboys. This movie premiered February 6, 2009. It is the story of 4 fanboys for Star Wars who, back in before episode 1 came out, they want to steal the rough cut of the film so that their friend who's dying of cancer can see it before, you know, and this is the only way he'd get to see it before the movie comes out. And so, you know, it's just the adventures of some fanboys going to break into Skywalker Ranch to steal the rough cut. And along the way, they happen to stop at a Star Trek convention to meet up with an informant to get some information to get them into Skywalker Ranch. And so this Star Trek convention, the clash of the Star Wars and the Star Trek fans, is pretty cool.
Phony IDs to get you past the front gates. But that's not what's most important.
What's most important?
We never met.
Yeah. I think...
Hi. I can't believe that these are classified, and there's... Look at the maps, and there's badges, and there's trekking and teach. What is this for?
Just something for the ride.
This is unreal. How did you score all this stuff?
Are you kidding? I'm William Shatner. I can score anything.
Okay. How about Jerry Ryan's panties?
Anything.
Number 5, Chasing Amy. This is one of the View Askew-universe films from Kevin Smith. And in this, it's about sexuality, sexual history, and evolving friendships. But the movie starts out at a comic convention, the Manhattan Comic Con, the fictional New York convention. And we've got Holden and Banky there to promote their comic, Blunt Man and Chronic. And so they're signing, and there's a whole interaction about what an inker does. Does he just trace? And then there's a room clearing panel where Holden meets Alyssa Jones for the first time. And it's a hilarious scene. You can find a clip of that on YouTube, but the whole movie's worth watching. Number 4, iCarly, I Start a Fan War. This episode premiered November 19th, 2010, and in this episode, Carly, Sam, and Freddie go with Spencer to Webicon, which they finally managed to get to. And when they get there, Spencer encounters his nemesis, played by Jack Black. And there's a big duel between the 2 cosplayers. Meanwhile, at the iCarly panel, Carly and Sam have inadvertently started a fan war between the people who think Freddie should get with Carly and the ones that think Freddie should get with Sam, the Seddies and the Creddies. But apparently this is all based on reality, because there's fans of the show that think Freddie should go with one or the other, and so they've based this fan war on an actual online fan war. And there's also other in-jokes to old roles that the actors have been in, as well as, like, for example, Jerry Traynor, who plays Spencer, used to be in a web series called Project Lore, where he played World of Warcraft as a healer. And in this, he's a character in another MMO that's unnamed, sort of fictional thing, going up against Jack Black. But cosplayers will find amusing things in here. There's the Jack Black's nitpicking of Spencer's costume and having the jewels on his belt in the wrong order. And so yeah, it's aimed at the teens, but it's still a pretty fun episode for anybody familiar with conventions, clearly based on San Diego Comic-Con. Number 3, Futurama, Where No Fan Has Gone Before. This episode's from April 21st, 2002, and in this, Fry discovers that Star Trek has been banned on Earth, and he goes on a quest with Leonard Nimoy's head to find the other cast members. And in the whole process of this, they are captured by an alien energy being on a planet, and he forces them, the Star Trek crew and the Planet Express crew, to put on a Star Trek convention that will last forever. And as Futurama does, this is an amazing episode. They reunited the original cast of Star Trek, except for DeForest Kelley, who had passed away at that point, and James Doohan, whose agent just said, and I quote, "No way." But it's one of the best Futurama episodes, and it's also been rated as one of the best TV episodes of 2002. There's not much convention stuff in it, but it's still a great thing to watch. You'll enjoy it.
For 100 Quatlus, who did the Captain Maroon on SETI Alpha 5?
Number 2, Castle, The Final Frontier. This is from November 5th, 2012. When a body is found at a sci-fi convention, Castle and Beckett are warped into the heart of fandom. They have to investigate a murder at a convention. And now for convention fans, this will get you right off from the first few moments where Richard Castle is signing an autograph for Jonathan Frakes, who, by the way, was the director of this episode. And a lot of Castle fans, or a lot of people will watch Castle that used to be Firefly fans, and there's plenty in this episode of Castle for the Firefly fans. Not only does he say shiny very early on, but there's a reference to That Joss Whedon Show, which might have been canceled after only airing 12 episodes. There's a ton of references to Firefly and pretty obvious references to other sci-fi shows. There's cosplay, you've got an awesome sci-fi set, and so there's also cameos by some other people too, maybe Quark. But yeah, this is, when it's on Netflix, go out and find it, or rent the DVD, or get it from iTunes, but this is definitely worth watching. It's a great episode, and that's why it's our number 2.
So, who is our victim? Did Doc Ock finally catch up with Spider-Man?
Think more TV Starship.
Oh, Borg attack. Cylon skin job. Please say number 6.
Nope. Nebula 9.
Really? I'm sorry, how is Nebula 9 worthy of all this? I mean, they were canceled over a decade ago. After 12 episodes, which was 12 episodes too many.
I thought you would be a fan.
I'm a fan of good sci-fi. Star Trek, Battlestar, that Joss Whedon show, but Nebula 9? No, it's all phony melodrama and lifeless acting.
And at number 1, for the best depiction of a convention in media, Galaxy Quest. This movie premiered on Christmas 1999, and this is the story of, well, it's kind of a parody of Star Trek fandom. It's got a great cast of Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell, and Daryl Mitchell as the cast of a defunct TV series, clearly based on Star Trek, called Galaxy Quest. It also has Justin Long, the I'm a Mac guy, in his feature film debut. There's an alien race that has been watching Earth television programs and thinks they're real. The poor people of Gilligan's Island. But anyway, they think that Galaxy Quest is real and that it's a historical documentary. So in order to save their planet, they have built a complete replica of the ship from the show. And they need the crew from the show to come fly the ship, which they've programmed with all the operations they learned from watching the show. So the crew has to relearn all their stuff. But it starts at a convention and ends at a convention, spoiler. The interaction with the fans, it's great. There's a scene where they're doing autographs and you see the guy who's just an extra try to squeeze into the line and sign some too. You see the guy who doesn't really want to be there. I've seen plenty of actors that they're going to the convention because they have to and they don't want to be there, and he's just signing it, yep. And then there's Tim Allen's character who's holding up the line, telling stories, and he's really friendly and he's really into it. I mean, we see that all the time too, and that's great. Yeah, everything in this I've seen at a convention, well, except like real aliens and all the stuff with that. But this movie is a cult classic, and that's the reason it's #1 on our list. If you haven't seen it, go out and get it right now. In fact, I have to get rid of my DVD for that. I'm going to get the Blu-ray because this is an awesome movie and I love it. And so that's our top 10 list. Now there's plenty of other shows that have featured conventions. There's CSI, which there's a whole furry thing there. The Simpsons, Freakazoid, Dexter's Laboratory, Third Rock from the Sun, and tons more. If there's any that you think should have been on this list, drop us a note, tell us why. See if you can justify it. Maybe you'll change our minds. Maybe we'll put this on the list. So you can send us a voicemail at 762-ADEQUATE. That's 762-233-7828. Or send us an email at podcast@AnimeCons.tv. Or just send us a quick note on Twitter at AnimeCons TV. We've got a Facebook group, and there's a Google group, which we hardly mention. But yeah, use any of those, and we'd love to hear from you. And maybe there's some that we knew about that didn't quite make the list, but maybe there's some we have no idea existed. So please let us know what's out there. We want to know more about conventions, and they're on the media. So tell us. Tell us. I mean, we don't bite. Send us feedback. And so next week we get a feedback episode. So look forward to that. And don't forget to subscribe at itunes.animecons.tv, or you can just find the subscription link if you go to our site at animecons.tv. Thanks.